Battle Through the Heavens. Grand World. Chapter 286. A Special Weapon. In the heavenly peak where Xiaoyan and the other two were staying, ever since the battle with Bai Yongzhao had ended, the students who had come to this place had lingered for a long time. On one hand, they wanted to witness the legend. On the other hand, they hoped for a chance to meet the famous twin pearls of the Inner Academy. Driven by this curiosity, the academies surrounding the heavenly peak were bustling with activity. If not for the restrictions placed on the heavenly peak, someone would have already climbed to the top of the mountain. Xiaoyan naturally didn't care about the thoughts of these students. In the past few days, he had calmed his mind and immersed himself in cultivation using the spiritual source formation. At the same time, Zuna and Kailin had also received the second-grade spiritual source formation from the academy and were cultivating diligently. Given their talent, their improvement was naturally swift. Although they hadn't seen Guyuan and Zhu Kun, Xiaoyan had learned about their conditions from a few elders. After obtaining the second-grade spirit origin formation, their cultivation had become even more intense. In the academy's competition 1 month later, not only would it be the final battle among the top experts of the Soaring Dragon ranking, but it would also be the best chance to secure a place in the rankings. A few days later, early in the morning, Xiaoyan walked out of the spirit origin formation. Although his cultivation had progressed at a tremendous pace over the past few days, just as Elder Fang had said, the consumption of spirit origin stones was equally astonishing. The 200,000 spirit origin stones he had, though a staggering amount, were being consumed at an alarming rate. And this was only the beginning. As his cultivation deepened, he estimated that 100 spirit origin stones would barely last him an hour. Just thinking about this kind of depletion made one's scalp tingle. He looked around the mountaintop. There were 2 other spirit origin arrays, but the origin monic key within them was significantly thinner than the one Xiaoyan had used. In those 2 spirit origin arrays, Zuna and Kailin were cultivating with their eyes closed. Dense origin monic key flowed steadily into their bodies, wrapping them in golden light, giving them a holy and radiant appearance. Xiaoyan stretched his limbs. Having stayed in the 3rd-level spirit source array for days without rest, even he found it difficult to endure. As he lazily sat on a stone bench, he fell into thought. With a flick of his mind, his spiritual strength entered his body. In front of him, the Xiaoao was lying lazily within a flame. Beside it, a strange scale floated slowly, suspended in the fire. Xiaoao, how long will it take for this thing to recover? Xiaoyan looked at the scale in the flame and asked curiously. After the battle with Bai Yongzhao, Xiaoyan had told the 2 girls everything he had experienced, about the Xiao clan and Elder Yi. Their current strength still wasn't enough to comprehend the true depth of these matters. If Zuna and Guyuan learned that the proud Gu clan might be nothing more than pawns in a greater game of the grand world, no one could predict how they'd react. Xiaoyan's rational side had stopped him from mentioning Elder Yi. That was a being even the Supreme Saint feared. It was still too distant a concept for them to grasp. He had also shared everything he had learned about the challenge the fighting monarch of the lower realm would face. Without hesitation, Xiaoyan brought out everything he had obtained from the ancient tomb at Black Sand Castle, especially the flame mantra burning spell, and explained it to them seriously. Seeing the surprise on their faces, Xiaoyan looked at the essence protecting pill in the brocade box and the understanding of the flame mantra burning spell. He furrowed his brows. The path from monarch emperor to emperor cultivation was a tribulation that only 1 in 10 survived. Countless geniuses from the lower realms had turned to ashes here, even with the flame mantra burning spell. He couldn't help but worry about Zuna and Kailin, just as Guyuan and Zhu Kun were attempting to break through to emperor cultivation. Determined, Xiaoyan vowed that while cultivating, he would also begin gathering rare medicinal herbs to refine essence-protecting pills. Though he himself wasn't ready for emperor cultivation yet, the ingredients required for the pill were extremely rare. That senior who reached emperor cultivation had searched across countless regions. Now Xiaoyan had 5 people to consider. Engraving the matter in his heart, Xiaoyan took out the sword hilt, suspected to be a heavenly weapon. He had seen its terrifying power firsthand. A single sword key had split a massive boulder. Though he had the blue flame ruler, which made him less dependent on the sword, Zuna and Kai Lin didn't mind who wielded it. With the inner courtyard competition only a month away, having an extra card up his sleeve would be advantageous. After witnessing the broken sword hilt's power, the 2 girls' eyes naturally sparkled. Xiaoyan hesitated, not knowing who to give it to. At that moment, the teasing voice of Xiaoao rang out in his mind. Xiaoyan, you're really a shameless playboy. Someday, I'll be like you and find 2 beautiful wives of my own. Xiaoyan smiled awkwardly. This fellow used to be so pure. Now he understood everything. Forget what happened that day. I won't even bother telling you anymore. Xiaoao's mocking tone made Xiaoyan's scalp tingle. This guy knew everything he had done. Forget it. Give that heavenly weapon to the one called Zuna. As for Kai Lin, I'll use the coming month to help her forge a weapon more suited to her. Xiaoyan was stunned and glanced at Kai Lin, his mind racing. Her original body was a heaven-swallowing python. Could there be a connection to Xiaoao's original form? Kai Lin frowned under Xiaoyan's gaze and lightly snorted. You can give it to Zuna. Although my spirit weapon is low grade, it suits me well. Zuna was about to speak, but Xiaoyan smiled and interrupted. Don't worry, there's no shortage of weapons. Give this one to Zuna first. I still need to nourish the one for Kai Lin using Origin Monic Key for a while longer. Its power will be no less than this one. Only then did Zuna giggle and take the hilt from Xiaoyan. Kai Lin gazed softly at him, saying nothing. A trace of joy curled the corners of her lips. At last, this man had placed her in his heart. After making such bold claims, Xiaoyan didn't dare to slack off. He consulted Xiaoao almost every day. The latter, irritated by the constant pestering, eventually began ignoring him. When Xiaoyan asked again, Xiaoao yawned and muttered, "How many times must I tell you? It'll be ready before the inner courtyard competition. Why are you so impatient?" Xiaoyan could only smile awkwardly. After all, he had seen the happy smile on Kai Lin's face. If he lied to her, who knew what the consequences would be? This scale was taken from my body when I emerged from my eggshell in human form. I'm not sure what its exact purpose is. After a pause, Xiaoao's tone turned serious. Xiaoyan, what is the original form of your wife Kai Lin? Xiaoyan's heart stirred at the solemn tone and answered honestly. In the Daoqi continent, we called her the 9-colored heaven-swallowing python. 9-colored heaven-swallowing python. Xiaoao was stunned, then shook his head in disappointment. Never heard of it, but I feel a vague sense of blood and key resonance within her. It's faint, but noticeable. That's why I said this weapon made from dragon scale is better suited for her. It might be able to awaken her latent source energy. Xiaoao frowned and muttered softly. Chapter end. Please like, comment, share, and subscribe.